Okay, day 36, and I'm ready. I'm ready at this point to make my statement about bringing kind of the three legs that I've been working on in this series. One's kind of pay to play, the other is the Awan inspiring in Congress, and this last one, which I've been working on for a long time as well with deep uranium, is the illegal trade of the FBI in uranium. And I'm bringing them all three together today and saying there's still three separate lawsuits, these three different things. One against obviously the one inspiring, one against the pay to play, and one against the FBI corruption in making this illegal black market under color of law. But they're really coming together. They're really coming together into a central point, and these three lawsuits will come together. Imran Awan didn't win the lottery. Imran Awan was brought here by Andrew McCabe. He was recruited through a system in Northern Virginia that Andrew McCabe runs. Bob Mueller has used Andrew McCabe as sort of a delivery guy ever since Bob Mueller climbed the tarmac. The reason why you get all this media and things that don't make sense, like, gosh, highly enriched uranium is flying around on commercial flights, from Berkeley and from Los Alamos and so forth, is because the product is being shown. It's being leaked through these research organizations, and especially the Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission, and it's being sold. Now, I'm not saying it's being sold for weapons programs just yet. I don't have that proof, but it's definitely being sold into research organizations like the Indian Nuclear Power Program and the Pakistani Power Program. So what I'm saying is this is illegal trade. This is not something that the FBI has been chartered to do, is to sell uranium on a black market under the color of law. That is not something that's actually in the FBI. Now, it was very good to have Robin Gritz on last night to talk about this inner circle. She calls it the FBI regime, and I think I'm going to adopt that. It isn't a regime. There isn't a secret circle, a little Masonic secret circle that gets to sell uranium on the black market under the color of law. That's not a part of the FBI charter. The FBI charter is law enforcement. Now, we know that Hillary has done pay to play like this before with the General Grange's Army of Northern Virginia invasion of Libya and Syria, and also an attempt at Turkey. Now, these are not legal operations. They weren't legal or talked about in the State Department. They were secret negotiations done in a backwater somewhere in Alexandria, Virginia, over at Mount Vernon, under mint julep discussions about, hey, how do we, get a little bit of commerce for ourselves? This is not legal. These discussions should be open, not secret, not on a secret server as far as the State Department's is concerned, and not concerning Congress, which is where the spiring is. So this loose nukes now becomes almost a symbol of this whole process of the three kind of threads that I've been following through this whole series, and it comes together neatly at the middle here, when the three lawsuits do finally merge together. So if you FBI corruption, one lawsuit, pay-to-play Podesta Group, the other, and all the pay-to-play pieces like putting people down, getting dossiers, low-intensity campaigns against any journalists who come forward. And then, of course, you have aspiring. You have to negotiate these deals in secret. You can't be, you can't have Andrew McCabe saying, meet me on a tarmac and I'll show you the sample of the HEU in Tbilisi. Well, wait a minute. We did actually have that. We actually did have that email. And this is why you need aspiring, is you need someone to negotiate with the Pakistan Atomic Commission. You need satellites to track this stuff as it starts moving around the world. You fly the HEU because it's $8 million for a quarter pounder. I mean, $8 million for a quarter pounder. Just think about that next time you ever see a quarter pounder. A lot of people won't need it in a quarter pounder. But $8 million is what the Tbilisi price was. Now, we're giving all this stuff to Azerbaijani terrorists who we brought into Uzbekistan to truck this stuff around. Is it any wonder that some of it gets moved around to different spots? So that's my key point here, is the reason why I'm at the Department of Energy yesterday is you really couldn't go there until we had the Robin Gritz story last night about this FBI regime, until people could hear from somebody who actually worked with McCabe on a daily basis, who knew Director Mueller, who knew Comey, and so forth. And this is why I always say Comey's kind of on the outside of this. He's a pay-to-play, but he's really not. and he's part of the FBI regime as well, but he keeps getting forced in to have to go clean these messes up that McCabe and Mueller have created for him. And so anyway, I wanted to say that if you go to my Twitter, you'll see a lot of background, and people are like, gosh, this is hard work. You know, all this Nuclear Regulatory Commission thing. You went to the Department of Energy yesterday. You're explaining how satellites are tracking uranium. You're saying that all this stuff was enabled by the 123 drop box to Pakistan. This is hard stuff. Well, yeah, it is. I'm sorry, but it is. You do have to look at all these export license agreements, and you really do have to build the documentation of all the people that have been brought in to be a part of this for the Uranium One kind of infrastructure into the United States. People who came into U.S. enrichment, where the actual burglaries took place. How does somebody get away with all these burglaries in Congress? I mean, we just have to think about it. After they've been banned from the network, they're burglarizing in Congress. After they've already had 20 burglaries at the inauguration. It's obvious that there's state support. Who runs out to Dulles when they arrest Hina Alvi? It's Andrew McCabe runs out there and gets her back on the plane. The only reason he didn't do that for Imran is because it would look bad to go twice, and so we said, okay, we'll have a wrist slap, and then we'll keep the program going. This is not government. The little side business for the Army of Northern Virginia. Civil War is over. People are not chattel. We did this overthrow in Libya, and then we ended up with a slave market 4 years later. Does it ever turn out good? This kind of pay-to-play, independent, private government, let's all meet over at Mount Vernon, have a mint julep, and talk about the rape, pillage, and plunder, never works out. This is why the founders designed the Constitution the way it is. This is why Jefferson put those protections in there. This is why Madison put those protections in there. So this kind of thing wouldn't happen. This is what we have now. We've gone back 220 years now, and we have a chance. Somebody said, "Oh, this is like a teaspoon in the Titanic. We're just not going to do it fast enough." No, actually, quite the opposite. There's one guy who sued Podesta company. We had two CEOs quit, and then they folded the company. Now Kim Fritz is going to go over and start Cogent Strategies, and they probably just keep going if nobody notices this thing. But the key here is sunshine. If we get the sunshine on these servers, on these private servers, the CENTCOM server, the Hillary server, Hillary Huma server, and the Awan server, it's going to at least give us a chance to restart this economy. Or this government. It just needs a restart. And it's so simple. I mean, the lawsuit with Podesta Group literally got results within 3 days. I can probably end up merging it at some point when people see the more obvious connections between Fusion GPS and Podesta Group and the Awans. But I have to keep them separate until then. But those two will merge next. But then now all the FBI stuff is coming out. How this was a Mueller-McCabe construct from the very beginning. Could go all the way back to 2004, the day Imran stepped on shore. Could go back even before that to 1999 when the whole PTEC thing was organized by Mueller. So I think this is a key point today. I'm going to be talking about it on different television networks. And, all the hard work that you've invested in learning all the people, learning all the conspirators, learning that, it's going to be Fisk, it's going to be Condrey, it's going to be Lambert, and then this is a reality winner that's going to be put up in front of Congress with Campbell. All that's going to pay off now, because we're going to be going actually after the group that's caused all this. It's not really Hillary Clinton. It's really the FBI regime. And that's really where this whole series started. And now we're finally at the point where there's enough evidence so we can bring these three things together.